Live on Facebook. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 or defectors. We call them 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 or defectors. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. 28 minutes to 9. I'm going to make a presentation, a very short presentation. Hello, Priscilla. How are you? Cosmet Zirufamber. Mgoma Nelson Magadi. Tonight I'm going to talk about 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. I'm going to talk about 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 or defectors. I'm talking about 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 or defectors who are dying with no clue, who are dying with suspicious circumstances. Shapiro, Zirufamber Mkomasten. So how are you? I don't want to waste your time tonight, but I want to quickly walk through or walk with you through 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. We call them 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 or defectors. If you defect, unongoshinzuru 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. I'm okay, Shapiro. Zirize a little bit Magadi. Say you daldoza ndagasimba. Regaiti kupeyima salute. We're talking about 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵 ari kwese ku politics, kunyika, kupi. We all know 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. They are everywhere. But we need to talk about 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵. Sure. 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵, they face a lot of risks. When you decide to become a 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐵, you need to consider quite a lot of things in your life. Satatanga to get morudunura driwora. Teresia madondo zirikufamba. Louis zirikudini. Adzidiriwora hiro. Vano diriwora rembanje. Diriwora vakomana. Diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora hiro. Vano diriwora rembanje. Musatambe navo. Vano diriwora rembanje. Ona diriwora vakomana. Diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora hiro. Vano diriwora rembanje. Vano vakomana. Vano diriwora rembanje. Musatambe navo. Vano diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora vakomana. Diriwora rembanje. Vano 31 people watching. Katingosvika 50. Tobva tatsemura nai. Tag more people. Welcome Mdara William Ponela. Hanzi wanga usina data Mdara, kana wanga usina magetsi. Zambezi yaoma. Diriwora vakomana. Diriwora rembanje. Vano vakomana. Vano diriwora rembanje. Musatambe navo. Vano diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora vakomana. Diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora hiro. Vano diriwora rembanje. Vano diriwora vakomana. Ona diriwora rembanje. 34 people watching. Tag more people. Pane vanonga vachita hatina kuzokuona mukoma Yuda, this and that. Vanoda ndidzokerere. Saka ndechida kumirira kuti tikaita a reasonable number of people and then atichakwanise kudzokera achimwene bwanji Benji Murot, how are you? I'm well, my brother. Hanzi mkoma William Ponela Sola yakati tiwangu hanzi kariba ya oma zuwa hanzi mwaroda udzima zuwa menu mchaita say Edi Ndevele welcome Victor Gore zviri kufamba here Shila Mkonyo, how are you my tete? Thomas Maramba zviri sei mkoma Maramba Lamek Masuk azi mkoma wangu muri said wora vakomana pakaipa anaganyavu Adson chana chombe, how are you? Sheunesu mafunganye hanzi mkoma makadi ndakasimba mwana wama ndakasimba zvisingaiti zvazvia maromodza aya ndo ari kuhwadza chete anditi mwana. For the past 2 weeks, I was not really feeling well. I could feel it inside that I'm not well. But sometimes, you know, age, I can go, I can do it, I can do this and that. Eddie, as you gonna aid, Avadzima. Emma Roy, 36 people watching. All right, Gadishike 40. Because 15 units akushika people wamwarara ku Zimbabwe, but those who are in diaspora varikupi, let's join this very important presentation tonight. Anziri say at soon chana chombe ndakasimba mwana wama adri horare mpanje azi basa tagara naro emeri na zvotoda takabhema emeri na zvipo iwe bo emeri na zvipo zvembanje azi basa tagara naro zvotoda takada sei takatudura fodya ndakazonzi nemwe friend yangu anzi dai waibhema mbanje kana unwa doro wainetsa ndikati zvakandiramba nai mbanje no fodoro no anzi zvipo iwe bo emeri na zvipo zvembanje iri basa tagara naro iri zvinotoda takabhema tapiwa chapotoka hanzi long time ngoma really long time Elton Msekio bruru zviri kufamba here believe ichimbaira zviri kudini chiwirega ititange 38 people ngatingoitai 2 more tobva tatochiputisa 39 40 tapinda mu40. So good evening ladies and gentlemen. Tonight John Foster the Force Manyise, how are you? Tonight we are going to talk about maganyavu. Remember, when we say ganyavu, we mean people who defect. Whether you defect from the government, whether you defect from a political party, but echikuti ganyavu. Mauritius yazviita wave of change in SADC, Southern Africa, opposition 1 in Mauritius, opposition 1 in Botswana. We expect opposition to win in Namibia, and opposition 1 in South Africa, in Zambia, and in South Africa, Ramaphosa no longer enjoy the monopoly of running South Africa on his own. Godfrey Majazi, Zirufamba, Madzimayana, Valalasika, Plenge, Zirufamba. Saka, we are going to talk about defectors. What do we mean by defector or ganyavu? Here we mean a desertion to an enemy. This is what we mean. When I say ganyavu, kuduri ganyavu or a defector, you have deserted to an enemy. You have switched your allegiance. You have switched your allegiance. And these defectors are a very vital source of information, especially in politics and governance. So maganyavu, they are very useful wherever they go. They go different organizations. A good example, let's talk about the late Senator Lillian Timovias. She's the one who have brought this topic today. I understand she died this morning. Our former MDC or Triple C official. She was MDC Alliance Senator. Remember, she was one who was once recalled by Douglas Monzora. If I'm putting my facts correct or I need to be corrected, we all understand one of the defectors in our political history is Lilian Timovias, who switched allegiance going to ZANU-PF and became a very vital source of information. She abandoned a part or the cause in favor of ZANU-PF. She abandoned opposition politics in favor of ZANU-PF or ruling part. She used to believe in the crash, smash, and overthrow ZANU-PF to bring sanity to the country, to bring sanity to Zimbabwe. She was a believer to say, look, whatever I am going to do in this country, in the opposition, will crash ZANU-PF and will smash ZANU-PF and will overthrow ZANU-PF so that we can, a regime, a ZANU-PF regime, so that we can establish 𝐼𝐚𝐆𝐚𝐧𝐲𝐚𝐯 government for the people. She believed in that before she decided to desert to the enemy, before she decided to switch allegiance from the opposition to the ruling party, ZANU-PF, where she became a vital source of information. If you hear what ZANU-PF people are saying today, it's like she was their God who had descended in ZANU-PF, something that has never happened in the history of politics in our country. Although we had the likes of Nyati, we've got the likes of 𝐼𝐚𝐆𝐚𝐧𝐲𝐚, we've got the likes of Tendai BT, we've got the likes of Shavangu, all these being used by the regime to destroy the opposition in Zimbabwe. So defectors have been always there, ladies and gentlemen. Defectors have been always there. But let's look at Lilian Timovias. I'm trying to look at what I've prepared so that we flow, we talk sense, we go through everything that we think we need to cover before we call it quits. It's very sad. Atete Barbara nomunawa zirufambere Steven zirodeni wamai Shepherd Chiguvari. Thank you so much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. So this topic was brought by the untimely death of our former senator Lilian Timovias. May his soul rest in peace. Anzi wafa wanaka amubvumiri ukutaura zvakashata zvemunhu anenge ashaika. Ndo paitaurwa pachimufana chimwe choita maskits chinoacta chinonzani cheche chemusoro mukuru chemusoro bhangu ichi chonzani chimufana ichi chekuti ndiri kunwa doro rangu right now, because kana ndafa ndoziva kuti muchaungana muchinwa doro, indisichanwe doro ndakafa muchindichema. Saka inini let me drink now kuitira kuti kana ndazofa munenge makumwa ndichikuonai muri mumhepo. Chonzani chimufana chemusoro bhangu ichi chimufana chemusoro mukuru cheche. Booties, chose Booties, man, I've forgotten his name. Augustine Zvirise Bashawan, Ngaende. People, Goma Jacob, people don't say that. Afana Kanai. But to me, looking at the untimely death of Senator Lilian Timovias, I hate to say that this is murder in Zimbabwe. I hate to say that, but let's be honest here. Looking at the untimely death of Senator Lilian Timovias, I say, to me, although I hate to say it, but to me it's like murder. Because even if you read, when we started hearing the news this morning, they said that the circumstances surrounding her death were not clear. Some people pointed last time that Lilian Timovias must be, I know it's in ZANU-PF circle where they were saying she must be poisoned. I don't know why. I don't know why people in ZANU-PF hated her so much, while she was a defector who brought to them joy, who brought to Mnangagwa joy when she left the opposition, when she switched allegiance to ZANU-PF. The ZANU-PF people were very happy. But if you go into ZANU-PF groups, definitely they were talking about poisoning, Lilian Timovias, poisoning a lot of these guys who defected to ZANU-PF. I don't know for what reason ZANU-PF people hate defectors, hate people who bring them all sorts of information. I don't understand why. Anzingoma yuda wa you, anzukava wabuda mgwara revanu atichemi. It's so sad, Mkoma Thomas, that she died after switching allegiance, and she became a very valuable, vital source of information. But within the circles of ZANU-PF, she was hated. It's not Lillian only. Even Chebundo, people in ZANU-PF, they don't like him. Because when Chebundo deserted or defected to ZANU-PF, we started saying, look, at least ZANU-PF has got a presidential candidate. Because you know, I know, everybody knows that Chebundo is the only person who defeated Mnangagwa left, right, and center in Kwekwe until Mnangagwa ran away from Kwekwe. It was Blessing Chebundo. And Blessing Chebundo now, he followed his prey into ZANU-PF and hoping to be president of ZANU-PF. This is what Blessing Chebundo is thinking. And this thought is like what ZANU-PF people don't want. This is what ZANU-PF had about these defectors. So it's very unfortunate that Zimbabwe have lost Lilian Timovias, who is the former MDC Alliance official and became Triple C as well before she switched allegiance to ZANU-PF. She died at the Avenues Clinic. This is where you see that ZANU-PF does not value you. You go and die at the Avenues Clinic. If it was Chiwenga, they would have flown him to China for medical attention. But the problem with the Lilian Timovias is that the circumstances of surrounding her death were not clear when it was broke, when the news broke that she had died. And what happened to Lilian Timovias? Obvious, it's poisoning, because people in ZANU-PF are not happy about these defectors, and they will go one by one. I am telling you, look what Shabang is like today. Look what our esteemed former vice president in the MDC, Thokozani Kupe, look at her. It's just a shell of former Thokozani Kupe. If you look at Shabang, it's just a shell of Shabang. If you look at Lillian, it's now a corpse, someone who has died. It's so sad that, you know, give me this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Allow this opportunity to welcome one of my Sawira, Leonard Masamba here. I know Masamba, it's very unfortunate with chikwambo chanacho manje kako kachikwambo kadikidiki and ukatumira kako kachikwambo kanobva kunokamitiso. Saka it's just a warning to you, Leonard Masamba. Welcome my Sawira. Chisawira changu ichi guys. Hanzi even muhondo vatengesi vaiurawa. Hanzi tapotsa tati vaita tuka neashavangu. It's not yet clear, but these guys are being poisoned in ZANU-PF. Especially go into ZANU-PF groups, guys. In it, I've got 256 groups. I am in some of these ZANU-PF groups where if you listen to them discussing about these defectors, you wonder why these guys defect to ZANU-PF. You wonder why. You wonder why. I am telling you, in ZANU-PF, they are not wanted. They are not liked. And sorry Masamba. I want ndakaenda kumshandika naye changu chikwambo adhara kako katume futi one kanomitiswa chete. I bet ngakauye one kuno kanomitiswa chete. Saka what we are saying is she died at the Avenues Clinic this morning. Lilian Timovias, as we all know, she was born in 𝐾𝐞𝐿 in 1973. She is the former MDC Alliance Senator, and she defected to ZANU-PF in 2021. 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐻 ndopavakaganyavhura vachienda kuZANU-PF in 2021. Remember, this is soon after she was recalled by Douglas Monzora from the senatorial post she had been put by President Nelson Chamisa. So she graduated in that same year, 2021, after she defected to ZANU-PF. She went to Herbert Chitepo School of Idiots. You know, Herbert Chitepo School of Idiots, where she graduated in April. She became a certified idiot. She became a certified idiot after she graduated in April 2021 from Herbert Chitepo School of Idiots. We usually call it School of Ideology, which I don't know what the ideology Chitepo hold, but to me it's a school of idiots where she graduated and became a certified idiot in 2021. Ndakasimba kumbi zviri sei mari dubela. And it's a shame we are in the industrial revolution of robots and our politics and it's so sad. Konlo, very sad. A big Chaduka, how are you? So Lilian Timovias was born in 𝐾𝐿 in 1973. She's 2 years younger than me, and she's a former MDC Alliance Senator who defected to ZANU-PF in 2021 after she was recalled from the senator. And she went that same year. She went to Chitepo School of Idiots and graduated in April. After her graduation, she was appointed to a newly formed board of Petrol Trade. I'm not sure what that board was. She was appointed there. Sorry, guys. Something got in my in my Ruby. Can you bring me water, please? I don't know what went into my ear, into my airway. My airway, something went into my airway. I don't know what that something is. It's shocking me. Colin Samaita, really say, as what happened to Lilian Ndichangoshika. Lilian Timovias has died. 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐻 has died. Defectors, we call them 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵s, 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵. She has died. And what they are saying is circumstances surrounding her death were not clear. She died this morning in the avenues cleaning. Sorry, sir, ndregero. Ndregero ndakosora. It's so sad that she died this morning, and may her soul rest in peace. Condolences to Lilian Timovias' family. We are still Zimbabweans. I've never seen a Zimbabwean celebrating the death of another Zimbabwean. So tinochema pamwe chete, nechema tinofanirwa kubvisa lomash. Saka, I am saying to the family of Senator Lilian Timovias, condolences, and may her soul rest in peace. She died this morning from unclear circumstances, and from the look of the things, or from the rumors, people are saying she has been poisoned in ZANU-PF. As Shabangu as well has been poisoned in ZANU-PF. Look at Kupe has been poisoned in ZANU-PF during the time when she was going around with Mnangagwa washinda kunoraura hove vachita say she eventually ate poison, and now she's a shell of former Thokozani Kupe. Shabangu is a shell of former Shabangu, Saka, these defectors or 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵, they are not wanted in ZANU-PF. I don't know why they don't see it. Look at Lillian Timovias. She died very young. She was born 1973, making her 51 years this year. 2 years older than her, although she looks much older than me, but I'm older than her, 2 years more. So she defected to ZANU-PF in 2021. That same year, she went to Chitepo School of Idiots and graduated in April the same year. And that same year, after graduation, she was now appointed to a newly found board, Rhines Petrol Trade. I don't know what that organization was for. It was just an organization that had operated in Zimbabwe for 5 years without even governing board. And and later, she was suspended from that board, as I have been told, that when she was appointed in that board, she was suspended from that board. Her role was to bring transparency and efficiency to that board, advocating for good governance and in public entities. That was her role in petrol trade. Unfortunately, she was suspended for corruption. She came from opposition and was suspended for corruption in that board. After she was suspended there, Mnangagwa appointed her to national secretary, as a national secretary in what they call Citizens Against Economic Sanctions, National Executive Council. She became a secretary there. She was appointed by Emmerson Mnangagwa. Remember, from petrol trade, she was suspended because of corruption, and she was given another appointment by Mnangagwa in a CAES. She was appointed there as national secretary. And then she was also given another position in ZANU-PF as SIBA team. She was the head of SIBA team, or a member of a SIBA team, Varakashi. She became a member of Varakashi, or a SIBA team. So if you try to understand why 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐵 are defecting to ZANU-PF, she gave a very stupid reason when she left opposition to join ZANU-PF. The first excuse she gave, she said she was disillusioned with the disorder and the financial exploitation she observed in opposition. I am not sure here, because people said she was married to a white Australian man husband. Her husband was white. I'm not sure from Australia or from where. But she lamented financial exploitation, which I don't understand whether she brought her money to the party or whatever. I don't understand where the exploitation she was lamenting came from. But she said the opposition is disordered. There was no order in the opposition. A position or a point that I agreed with her at one time when she said there was disorder in the opposition. Because look, there was Monzora who claimed to be leader. There was Thokozani Kupe who claimed to be leader. There was this idiot Mdara Umsoromchena who claimed to be leader, but all of them were never elected to be leaders, and the people wanted President Chamisa to lead. Unfortunately, those guys now have disorder. That disorder resulted in the recalling from parliament a lot of members, a lot of parliamentarians and also senators, including Lillian Timovias. She became a victim of Douglas Monzora recalling. So at one point in her defection, I agreed with her that there was she was disillusioned with the disorder that has been shown in the opposition, but I'm not sure about the financial exploitation, whether she had money that was being used by the opposition. But one of the million things that is not completely correct is the financial exploitation. Is one of the million things that she stated why she defected to the opposition. So one of the million things that was not completely correct is the issue of financial exploitation. Because kutouya kuseneta kutotsvaga mari, vaitotsvaga mari, ndosauri kuona pavakaitwa recalled vakabva vaenda kuZANU-PF, because she was looking for money. So there is no financial exploitation whatsoever that she suffered in the opposition. But vaitotsvagawo mari. Remember, now the parliament and senate and the senator, these two houses are the source of employment. This is the reason why you have seen we've got 210 members of parliament who should be voted. So she was looking for money. So the issue of financial exploitation, that one, I take it with a pinch of salt, because it is one of the million things she stated which is completely untrue, which is not correct. But I agreed with her at one point when she cried that there is disorder in the opposition, and that disorder was caused by ZANU-PF. That disorder was created by ZANU-PF agents, the likes of 𝐌𝐚𝐆𝐚𝐧𝐲𝐚, the likes of Douglas Monzora, the likes of Wana BT, and so forth. These guys, they caused this disorder in the opposition politics, which she lamented, and she said she observed this, and she believed. When she saw this, she now believed in the vision of ZANU-PF as a means to achieve stability and progress in our country. Facts or opinions, I am not sure, Mkoma Chale. So this is what she said. Remember, she said this at a press conference. She was given all the platform to say whatever she wanted about the opposition. This is when she said, look, I've come to a point where I said my vision now lies within ZANU-PF. So I am going to help ZANU-PF to achieve stability and progress in the country. Unfortunately, she died early. She went there 2021, 2023, 24, just less than 3 years. She has died. So I am saying, rest in peace to Senator Lillian Timovias, to the family of Timovias. Chema emune tariro, eZimbabweans, truchema onemi, tine urombo, nekurasikirwa kwamaita namai, natete, nambuya, and so forth. Vaona Lillian Timovias as a source of inspiration. Warakashi, they found Madifema 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐼, they found as a source of inspiration. And a lot of 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐼s, they followed her footsteps because vakanga vayeva zvakanga aita. So she has a legacy of service to ZANU-PF. This is what they said. She has left a legacy of commitment. She has left a legacy of leadership, which will continue to inspire 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐼, which will continue to inspire Varakashi. So to them, this is a loss. To the people of Zimbabwe, we have lost a gallant daughter who has fought dictatorship in our country, who has stood firm before the issue of Umbu comes to play. So her legacy of service, commitment, and leadership in ZANU-PF or wherever she exercised it will inspire many people. The unfortunate thing, it is wrongly inspiring defectors to continue to defect to ZANU-PF. And these are the consequences that you will eventually face if you defect. Because remember, she abandoned the service of opposition and joined ZANU-PF because of a genuine conviction that loyalty to the opposition is no longer compatible with the best interest of the people of Zimbabwe. This is what she felt when she left the opposition. She said she would rather further the interests of dictatorship in our country. She believed that her loyalty to the opposition was no longer compatible with the interests of Zimbabweans. Therefore, she had to abandon, or she had to shift allegiance, or she had to leave the opposition and join ZANU-PF. That was her democratic right, and we should never try to make a beast out of her democratic right. Everybody has got a right to join or fly with birds of same feathers. Revolutionary greetings, Mkomayuda. Edmo Ngengeza, how are you? Position in ZANU-PF, Zeropa, she was just taking them for free. That is the other reason, Mkoma Tapiwa, that Varakash were discussing to say, look, we therefore, both my positions are going to be wire, Zeropa, and watch my positions, and she earned loads and loads of money. She earned loads, and fearless like Tsitsi Mashinini, the first youth leader of South Africa. Yes. So, obviously, Lillian Timovias was being appointed to different boards. One of the boards, Petro Trade, I don't know what was that board for. She had to bring stability to the board, to the country, or to the whatever she was appointed for. But she was sacked or suspended for corruption. Before her issue was heard, she was appointed again to another ZANU-PF department. And as we know, these positions are not for free in ZANU-PF. You need to fight for them. But she was getting them on a silver platter, which bred disillusionment within ZANU-PF itself. Obviously, she started suffering from doubt whether she acted rightly. I think when she started not feeling well, or when she was poisoned before she died this morning, I think she obviously came back to her mind. Did she acted rightly to join ZANU-PF? But I think she sat down before she died, or on her deathbed. She reflected to see, look, I joined Zhigures, and Basareku ZANU-PF and poisona and Rekurayana, and now I've become victim of ZANU-PF. And I too, whenever and she saw her death coming, and she went this morning. And obvious, those doubts persisted before she died. And she was seeing how she went wrong. Even the information, the amount of information she has given to ZANU-PF to use against the opposition, you start reflecting on everything when this time comes. You know, look, I've been poisoned. You can feel, you know, poison kana waidya kuti untanga kunzwa kuti panapa zveshua ndakufa ndakuyenda. I've been poisoned. So you start suffering from these visions. You start seeing things when you joined ZANU-PF in 2021, when you went to this Chitepo School of Idiots that year, when you came back being appointed to a position that long-serving members in ZANU-PF should have been appointed and enjoyed. There are a lot of ZANU-PF people who have been in that part for 45 years. They've never enjoyed anything. They've never been appointed to anything that Lillian Timovias enjoyed coming from the opposition. So everything, you start reflecting, you start seeing that, you start seeing all those doubts as well. You start seeing the amount of information that you sold out to ZANU-PF to say, look, I sold my comrades, I sold this information, I gave ZANU-PF this information. Everything, it comes when you get to this time of leaving this earth. Trikuti, may her soul rest in peace, because I know before she died, she had a reflection of these things. I'm sorry, ngosvika kubva kubasa ndiana ashaya. Senator Lillian Timovias ndo vashaika. Remember, opposition senator who was recalled by Douglas Monzora and Thokozani Kupe from parliament, from a senator, and that same year she was disillusioned and she joined ZANU-PF. She went to Chitepo School of Idiots in 2021. By April, she had graduated and had secured her first job in ZANU-PF. And in that job, from petrol trade, she was suspended for corruption, and she was appointed to another position, and she was the head of the SIBA, ZANU-PF SIBA team. She was their head. Saka vashaika mbuya aningati mbuya mfana steregu afane 51 years mwana mdiki shukuru mazibaba. I'm behind. Atete Pams, how are you? Mazimai Pams, she's very young. She died at 51, poisoned by Warakash. That SIBA team she led is eventually poisoned. Kune varikuda chikaru chachoka. Wafana wana wenje varikuda washande vandozo no wararamisa izvozvo. But Timovias aingopiwa achikwira achipiwa achienda until these guys were not happy. They hedged a plot, and obvious this Lillian Timovias has been poisoned. So she suffered from, when she joined ZANU-PF, obvious, she suffered from an exaggerated sense of self-importance. She thought, I'm the most important, I've done the most important thing, I'm the most important person in ZANU-PF, coming from the opposition as a senator and joining ZANU-PF. So she suffered from this exaggerated sense of self-importance, and also by being appointed to positions, doing corruption, suspended and appointed into another position in ZANU-PF, her integrity, she found herself rising in integrity and becoming like one of the most important people in Zimbabwe. Kuzana akuitwe manyemo akadaro unorova pasi hanzi one matambudziko asi akandirwadzisa paakajoina opponent yedu. Anyway, it's less ZANU-PF. The problem with ZANU-PF is it takes opponents as enemies. So as a result, pakaitika zvinhu zvakadai maZimbabweans vanotaura kuti rigafa rigaende. But the truth, guys, is hapana asingafe. Icho ndo chokwadi. We are all waiting for our fate. But kana tichinge tashaikirwa kudai, ngatisei musoro pamwe chete ticheme mumwe wedu ashaika, kurufu ngatiende tonobata maoko. But rambai kudya chikafu parufu rwaLillian, because munonyura munoenda vanenge vachiloadha poison, vakomana vacho havatambe, saka tinopera kufa. But kubata maoko tinoenda parufu, tunoenda tonomuchema, tomuviga zvakanaka-naka, totaurawo zvakanaka zvaakaita when she was in opposition. Ngatisazoita dual match pane zvakashata zvaakatiitira. Anditi maona, because kuenda kwaakaita kuZANU, obvious akanga ane exaggerated sense of importance and saw her integrity rising. She was also made to feel very important in ZANU-PF when she started meeting men of high status, ministers, president, and so forth. Indeed, that was disastrous. Unoziva here kuti kune mumwe munhu ari muZANU-PF ane 45 years who has never met Emmerson Mnangagwa, who has never been greeted by Emmerson Mnangagwa, but ari official yeZANU-PF. Asati atombosvika pedyo naMnangagwa, atobvumirwi kusvika pedyo naMnangagwa. But Lillian Timovias akabva atoenda kuState House chaiko. Vazhinji havasati vapinda muState House. Mazano aya amonzwa chichi. They are not even allowed access into a State House. They don't even go there. Akangoenda paipa anorohwa nemasoja kunzi akati ndiri district chairman weZANU ndabva kuZumba, anorohwa paya nemasoja. andiriona but vana Lilian wangomuka kuseni watopinda muState House meme vakutoti tauya kuZANU-PF. So she was made to feel great. She was made to feel big because she was meeting men of status. She met ministers, she met people with high profiles in ZANU-PF, which was a disaster. That was disastrous. From that point, Lilian was not going to last in ZANU-PF. Either she was gonna ditch ZANU-PF to come back to the opposition, or she will go this way. I knew it. I knew it. Where's Anna Blessing Chebundo? Get me wrong or right? They will go one way. They will go one way. Because my privileges are pure. These privileges, they are being given to lure more opposition members. To say, mukampa basa, mukampa GD6, motkari, mukampa imba, mukampa chi, apasina chimwe chachada, vana yuda, vanoona wariko opposition, ubva vati aiwata kujoina uzanu, topuwa zvakati. It's very unfortunate. That's disastrous. We are in politics not for money. We are in politics not for material things. Kana wachida mari enda kubasa unoshanda. Nusaka mwana taitaura kati, my members of parliament, they must never be paid. We are wasting money, losing money, paying those people for nothing. They must not be paid. That is a national duty. Ramufana national service. Mwana wafana wanda kunotraina national service awabhadharwa ya wanongopuwa uniform. Saka ngavangotengerwa masutu, wopuwa wakana tuma akwa tukufambisa ma constituents kana ma baskoro kana ma motorbikes. They must never receive a salary in parliament. Our constitution must change. And ZANU-PF inobva kuseni. So what I'm saying is because of these perks, these people are defecting for. So when they are taken, when they defect, they're taken to the State House, they meet the minister, they meet the president, they meet whoever they meet. That is disastrous. The end results are unojga poison mzano. As the lawyer Mayor Court had refused an official Mercedes-Benz, he said no, because he knows that service is first, and then that Benz later, and the more. Sakavarakashi and the ZANU-PF, they've orchestrated this murder of Lilian Timovias, and it's very easy to link them to this, considering all the perks I've stated here, considering what she was getting is a ZANU-PF agent. So Varakashi, they've orchestrated her killing, they've orchestrated her death. You cannot rule that one out. You are going to head Petrograd, petrol trade. This is an organization that operated for 5 years without a body, governing board. Over Adonziwe Chuya, Ndoa Mkuru wacho, otopuwa motkari yeko, otopuwa imba, otopuwa mari, otopuwa zvese. Apedza apo vaita corruption food, akabva adzingwa. Ikoko vachibva vamapointa into another organization. Achipuwa organization, achibva apointwa food to be head of SIBA team yeZANU-PF. Saka you find that kuti zvese zvaipuwa izvozvo Varakashi vaiona vachitaura kuti alright uyu akauya nezuro anaka chinas ukaona endai magroup ezanu kana ma screenshots arobva kumaZANU-PF groups. There are no doubts. You can link Varakashi to the poisoning of Lilian Timovias. She's not the only one. Vakawanda. Ane maiona vakatokozani kupepa kuti akanga aoenda pana parufida hove aenda apo aenda kumunda webinzi aenda kumunda wepizwa munangagwa ari mundege namunangagwa namai munangagwa here and there. If you look at Thokozani Kupe today, she's a shell of former Thokozani Kupe, the vibrant vice president of the opposition during Richard Morgan Tsvangirai's time. If you look at her now, she's a shell of herself because of ZANU-PF. Because of Varakashi. Akanga atowe padhuze kupfura ma vice president. Akanga atowe padhuze kupfura ma minister. Ndiye akanga ofamba nekudya musemu ndiro nekudya pamwe chete nani na ED Mnangagwa. In ZANU-PF unorova pasi. Unorova pasi, hanzi akabira mascones, shame. Unorova pasi mZANU-PF. Saka you find that defectors are paid handsomely. They are handsomely paid to lure other people in the opposition to say, let me defect. Even if you do corruption, they appoint you to another position to eat. Because they want you to look nice. They want you to be exemplary and attract more defectors. And attract more maganyavu auya akawanda kubva kuopposition iwe muitirese zvaanoda. So you are rewarded for defecting kuZANU-PF, and you are rewarded to fabricate negative stories about the opposition, like what you heard from Lillian Timovias. A lot of fabricated stories, created stories to tarnish the image, and she was like a celebrity in ZANU-PF after she tarnished the opposition, and it's so sad. It's so sad. In route Afanaka, may he so rest in peace. We must go bury our senator, former senator Lillian Timovias. Before she defected from MDC, ZANU-PF touted her as a traitor, someone who had campaigned for the country to be put under sanctions. She is someone viewed by people in ZANU-PF as someone who had invited the suffering or the sanctions to the people of Zimbabwe. It's like Obet Gutu. When he was a spokesperson of the MDC, he said sanctions must be increased, and more ZANU-PF people must be put on traveling bans. But when he defected, he started fabricating stories, telling lies about the opposition, and say to the people of Zimbabwe, I am sorry. And Zvanzi Alex Magaisa onorasisa otora food traditional plate kubuffet echikafu yepoisoning pakaipa. Hanzi havasi that safe vanhu vese vaya vakajoina ZANU-PF havasi stupid kuti vava trust. Obvious they are not going to trust them, because even if you look at what they say about Obet Gutu, having said a lot during the sanctions, before sanctions were removed, and ZANU-PF people obvious are not happy about Obet Gutu. So the likes of Obet Gutu to ZANU-PF are traitors. To ZANU-PF are criminals who are just waiting to be slaughtered. Already, if you look at Kupe, has been slaughtered. If you look at Shabango, has been slaughtered. Look at Lillian Timovias, has been slaughtered. And look at the generals themselves who fought for that country, have been slaughtered. How about Muna Ainzi traitor, Ainzi Mtenges, kuti zani chakuchengeta ichiti chi? And Saga people lack conscience, they lack reasoning. And so soon after defecting to ZANU-PF, we saw some of them receiving sacks of cash, masaga emari, motkari, and other perks. And just to lure other people to say, let's join ZANU-PF. Kana wakapusa, you join ZANU-PF. And ZANU-PF itself is a political party that has vested interest in making their enemy, not opponents. When they see Triple C is an enemy, when they see Chamisa is an enemy, when they see me, I am an enemy to them. They don't regard me as an opposition member or leader. They regard me as an enemy. So they have invested a lot of interest in making us enemies. And not opponents, but enemies. They've invested a lot in making us look as comically bad as possible. When they talk about Shepherd Judah, they say everything nasty, bad things about Shepherd Judah, bad things about Chamisa, bad things about all members of the opposition. So you will find some defectors that say untrue things when you were regarded as a traitor, when you were regarded in any bad state when you were regarded as an enemy. You can't be a comrade today. Ask Joshua Nkomo, one of the founders, the fathers of Zimbabwe, the founders of Zimbabwe. He even cried to say, look, me being a traitor, I founded this country, I founded Zimbabwe, I founded this struggle. But ZANU-PF called him all sorts of names, traitor. Vaimba, I think ma 1982 ikoko tichikura taiwanza vachimba kuti ngomonga uraiwe baba dzvanyiriri ndoune ndo makore akatiza Joshua Nkomo avaimba kudaro. Vaiti vakaimba kudaro vabva vaenda kumatebhelelendu yainzi 5th brigade au 6th brigade vosvika vouraya vanhu ikoko voita gukura hunde vachimba kuti ngomonga urawe baba udzvanyiriri ndoune. Taivanzwa vachimba kudaro. Vachiti vakatanga kuimba vaimba kavaimba kamuzorewa vaiti chiko yanzi muzorewa wamamira mutu vanze dairandi kunyomora unoziva masongs aya violence trigger violence. A lot of people died in Zimbabwe during that time when they were singing that Joshua Nkomo must be killed. Muzorewa, Bishop Abel Tendekai Muzorewa must be killed. But guys, listen to ZANU-PF today when they talk about Bishop Abel Tendekai Muzorewa. Bishop Abel Tendekai Muzorewa was one of the people who recruited people to go and fight during the war, who urged Zimbabweans, Ebobo died, to go to the bush and fight the regime of Ian Smith. Soon after independence, Mugabe never wanted to see Bishop Abel Muzorewa because of elections, 1978 elections or 79, when Zimbabwe Rhodesia was formed, and they said he was a traitor and he must be killed. So you see, if ZANU-PF did not forgive Bishop Abel Tendekai Muzorewa, who they regarded as a traitor, if they did not forgive Sekuru Wangu and Ndabaningi Stole, the founder of ZANU-PF, they said Stole was a traitor. Until today, their refusal to compensate the Gukura wound victims is a refusal to honor Joshua Nkomo. To the extent that Dumiso Dabengwa refused to be buried at the National Heroes Acre because he wanted ZANU-PF to compensate the Gukura wound people. So the genuine ZAP people, they know that ZANU-PF have refused to compensate the Gukura wound people. Instead, they want to compensate white farmers from our money, from taxpayers' money. They want to compensate white farmers, but they refuse to compensate blacks they massacred during Gukura wound. So that refusal is a sign of refusing to honor Joshua Nkomo. So I am saying this because I am looking back at how ZANU-PF will honor Lillian Timovius. How would ZANU-PF honor Obed Good when they failed to honor Father Zimbabwe, a man who is a founder of Zimbabwe, and honor a founder of ZANU-PF? They refused. They refused to honor Bishop Abel Tendekai Muzorewa. Quite a lot of people ZANU-PF refused to honor. They even refused to bury King at the Heroes Acre. So how would they honor Lillian Timovius, who they call a traitor, who they used to call a criminal, someone who invited sanctions for ZANU-PF to fail to rule the country? It's a food for thought. Despite her defecting there, getting sacks of cash and other perks, in their perception, she was a traitor. In their perception, she is a criminal. So She just went to join ZANU-PF to be slaughtered. So it's a warning to those other opposition people who want to join ZANU-PF from the opposition. If you are opposition, if I are opposition, because once you go there, you meet the same consequence. You face this consequence. You die. Unofa uchimwiswa uchiora matumbu nepoison. Uchichwa liver. You die slowly. Poison kills you slowly. So if you ask you this morning how she died, circumstances are unclear. Very unclear circumstances. Because she died with a political party that vested interest in making opponents an enemy. That make opponents comically bad. That make you as a defector say untrue things of your former political party. ZANU-PF efforts to cast its enemies as outrageously evil is what will see those defectors going down in that political party. Lillian Timovias went there and she used ZANU-PF's massive propaganda machine to say untrue things about the opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth now is Zimbabwe is currently a terrible country to live. I am telling you. Look what has happened to Lillian Timovias. That country is a terrible place to live. Especially if you are a defector, your days are numbered. You defected from the opposition into ZANU-PF, where there are people suffering, people without anything to eat, and you just come grab positions in ZANU and paid sacks of money. Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. No matter how untrue things you say about the opposition, but believe me, your days are numbered in ZANU-PF. Trupabata here wakomana. Trupabata here. Kuti taurirai vamwe vai vari kufunga kuti ndikaenda kuZANU ndichanodya. Ndichanopuwa akwa na anonza na chivayo. Your days are numbered. Lillian Timovias obvious. Maria akapiwa. Motikari dzaakapiwa. Sezvaakapiwa. Zvapera. Zvasara. And the family will suffer. Tisachika weda mari. Shanda. Zvakabasa ushande. Zvakataurwa na President Chamisa zvokuti if I need money, regai ndishande. I think muZimbabwe munofanira kuiswa mutemo now kuti all parliamentarians must never be paid a salary. That is a national duty. Kana uchida kuseva nyika enda muparliament, you must never be paid anything. And him on. Because this has caused defections. Those payments, those little monies they receive have caused defections. So what is a defector? As I stated earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, that deserting or desertion to the enemy is what we call defection. If you desert to an enemy, you have defected. If you have switched allegiance, you have defected. Because where you go, you'll be like a vital source of information. This is what the ZANU-PF wants. They want information that you have. They want information that we have. So, Lillian Timovias was a person who abandoned her beliefs. She abandoned her beliefs in favor of ZANU-PF. Because before she defected, she came to UK. Unfortunately, I did not attend. But Lillian Timovias came to UK. When we contributed to buy CCTVs to be put at the Harvest House, she came here. We contributed monies. CCTVs were bought Harvest House yakaiswa ma-CCTV nemari dzedu dzatakacontributa kuno. And she was talking about crushing ZANU-PF. She was talking about smashing ZANU-PF. She was talking about overthrowing ZANU-PF regime because of its evilness. But surprisingly, she's the one who later abandoned those ideas and went on to switch allegiance and joined the same political party that she campaigned against. Because she was recalled from parliament. She had lost PECs, she had lost cars, she had lost parliament. Secretary parliamentarians must never be paid. Let it be a national duty. Kana achida basa ngaenda unojoina chikadijeri, unojoina chipurisa, joina chisoja, asachuya kuparliament. Parliament must be a national duty, not a form of employment. Kuti munhu anoenda kuparliament aindi kupuwa fortune. Mari yemafortune ngaiende kuhealth. Endai munopa mutengera mishonga zvipatara pane kupa ma-MP mazimotikari esaya. So I'm advocating for that. To say, look, the constitution of Zimbabwe must be reviewed. And the clauses inserted to say once you are a member of parliament, it's a national duty, just like national service. Kudadaya mission kunotraina up, about left, right, up, famba msanga 160 beats per minute. And Saga parliament inofana kuwe a national service where people just go there to make laws for the country on behalf of other people. You are elected there. Go there, you don't get paid. It must be a national service. A voluntary service for that matter. And Saga tukutara why these people decide to join ZANU-PF? Why do they decide to join ZANU-PF? After everything they have seen for the last 45 years, someone would stand and go and join ZANU-PF. Why? Why would they join a political party that is being led by a genocidal leader, dictator? A genocidal dictator. Why? You had beliefs all along for the last 45 years, and you suddenly fall into the hands of a dictator, a genocidal one. Ladies and gentlemen, why would people of opposition in Zimbabwe decide to join that political party? It's because of the PECs that I've stated, because of the monies that they get. They get cars, they get houses to try and make them look good and lure more opposition members. Is it that what we want as Zimbabweans? Is that what you want as a Zimbabwean? Because you are joining ZANU-PF, and you think there is largely untapped resources in ZANU-PF. No. There are people in ZANU-PF who are starving. There are people in ZANU-PF who do not work. They have been supporting this part for 45 years. And they were not accorded the perks that you are getting in ZANU-PF. And you think these people are happy. You think these people are happy. At the ZANU-PF conference there, you saw a lot of food was left. All the ministers, my members of parliament and the chief, they brought their own lunch boxes. They brought their own water to drink. You saw pa table pa General Chiwenga, there were 2 zvigubhu zvemvura yake yekunwa. Kwete zvekupuwa mvura inonzi yauya glass rauya mvura yaiswapo inwai chef. Akati no. And then wabva ku-opposition uti peshu. Ufunga kuti you survive in that environment. We've lost Lily and Timovius this morning. It's so sad. Because when they go there, they think there are untapped resources for them to enjoy. It's not that way. It is strictly, ladies and gentlemen, for political matter. You must go there strictly for political matter, not for untapped resources. You will never enjoy them. Ukaenda une makaro dakunoguta dakunodya audyi. Look, less than 3 years down the line, Lillian is gone. Very young, 51 years of age. She's gone. She's gone. Asiyawana. She's gone. And everyone, imagine if it was ZANU-PF where she had defected from. A cow that jumped over the fence. Your cow jumping over the fence. ZANU-PF would have tried to stop it. But in opposition, we said, hamba kahle, famba zvakanaka, achienda kuZANU-PF. Because we have got no means to stop anyone who wants to join a political party of a choice. We allow you to go. We have blessed you to go. And ZANU-PF would never allow its cow to cross the fence and to be used by others. It will never. But opposition, nobody knows democracy. Apana mnagambotuka Lillian, apana kamuita anything bad. We bid you farewell, mufamba zvakanaka in your new endeavor. 3 years down the line, at the age of 51, she's gone. So we started thinking now, guys, are these defectors from the opposition defect ideologically or is just political motivated? To me, I've said you should join ZANU-PF on political matters, and it must be politically motivated, your joining of ZANU-PF. But if you go to ZANU-PF thinking that you are going to enjoy untapped resources, you go one way. They'll give you poison, you go. So the common denominator here of our defectors is the resources. Mabasa hakuna mnyika. So that is a common defector that has allowed these people to defect to ZANU-PF. It has got nothing to do with their conscience or politics, but it has got to do with their tummy, their stomach. They are hungry. And they've never asked themselves before defecting, what have I done all along for the last 20 years? What have I done in the opposition that infuriated ZANU-PF? What have you done in the last 40 years that infuriated ZANU-PF? So if I go to ZANU-PF, how am I going to survive? I've never believed in a ZANU-PF political system in my life. Reflect, think about this. How am I going to live in ZANU-PF? Your conscience must be at work and must tell you whether you are going to survive in ZANU-PF or you are going just to do less than 2 or 3 years. Then they give you rat poison and you die like a rat. When they give you poison, you die like a rat. You guys have never seen the death of 𝐼𝐻𝐻. He died in his car. They gave him rat poison. He died like a rat. Fase gonzo. Pellets gonzo. So you must ask yourself before defecting that look guys, I've never believed in ZANU-PF political system. Can I survive in that party? Your conscience, your good conscience must tell you. Am I going to work for ZANU-PF under these current conditions? Look at the current conditions that Zimbabwe state is in. No jobs. No source of income. People go to ZANU-PF not because they like ZANU-PF, but because they expect to get something to feed their families. So you are adding to their wars from opposition. And you think you are the most important thing to ever happen in ZANU-PF circles. If you look at Lillian Timovias, when she came from MDC Alliance as a senator after being recalled, she went on to defect to ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF, before they accepted her, they took her to Chitepo School of Idiots, where she graduated in April. After that, they said, right, she's now ready to serve. Then they gave her a position in petrol trade, where she had to oversee transparency and efficiency of that organization. Unfortunately, she did corruption before she was even ripe in the organization, and she was suspended. During that suspension, she got another appointment in a department known as Citizens Against Economic Sanctions in East National Executive. And she became member of ZANU-PF SIBA team. Warakash. You understand? In all these positions, she was getting paid. She has perks, she has got everything, a car, whatever she wants. So that when she goes out there, people think, get it, and a lot opposition members would want to join ZANU-PF. Before you join ZANU-PF, think, are you defecting ideologically, or are you defecting because of political motivation? Because one of the reasons that she defected was that she was disillusioned by the disorder in the opposition, but went on to say one of the million things that is not completely true, that she was financially exploited by the party. So those two reasons were enough for her to defect to ZANU-PF. When she got there, she said, I've come here to achieve stability and the progress of the country. She has died now. She has never realized her dreams. She never achieved the stability that she wanted. Imagine coming from ZANU, coming from the opposition, going into a part with millions of educated people, doctors and so forth, and then you go and say you want to achieve stability for the country. That organization has never achieved stability for 45 years, and you think you can change things overnight. The consequences were these. They gave her poison, and this morning she died. So as you witnessed above, ladies and gentlemen, ZANU-PF, when you join it, the first thing they do is to suppress all thoughts and feelings. And you need to obliterate your personality for you to fit into the organization. Turn yourself into a human robot for you to fit in ZANU-PF. It's not in a opposition politics where you've got a voice, where people can hear you. Unfortunately, when you join ZANU-PF, you need to obliterate personality, and you need to become a human robot so that you can suit into ZANU-PF. They are not allowed to think. There is nowhere Lillian Timovias was going to achieve stability and progress of the country whilst in people who do not allow you to reason, allow you to think like what we did in the opposition. Opposition aipo aita madiro achifunga achiunzawo policy zake pa table na achitipeta. You can't do that in ZANU-PF. Once you try anything like that, the next thing is red poison. Unofa segonzo. unofa uchipazha manyoka ane ropa kana kufa uchibuda furu, matumbu aparara ane poison. They are very good at that. Look there, conference yakapera 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐲 kuti vakaenda nemvura yekunwa. Vana Chiwenga vakatakura mvura dzekunwa. Mukadzi weChiwenga aive nelunch box nesadza bra kuti mudhara akaenda ane nzara anoburisa omupa wodya. Iwewe woenda ikoko kuti ndabva kuopposition, I've come to establish stability or achieve stability and the progress in the country, in Zimbabwe, through ZANU-PF. That will never happen. That is not the political party you achieve stability with. Never. So, takambovaudza mbuya Lilian Timovius. Aningavati mbuya Bosca mwana 51 years afari mwana mudiki stere. Takambomutsiura. That kwamaenda uko, you need to be a human robot. Urira chigure kuti urarame muzano. Andidimona. So among these defectors who are defecting to ZANU-PF, guys, it's just an advice. I've never seen a defector who succeeded in anything in ZANU. But ipapo, don't ever think kuti kuenda kwawaita kuZANU, iwewe ZANU-PF icha kutreata favorably than the majority of people who are in there. You end up wango ichidakwa. Ukatarisai vafana wandaitsura, anonzi ane mufana wandaitsura uyu umandaru ino. Ndakati homeboy kuZANU-PF wotopfeka penderata. Bosi kune ngongoni dzinokutokonya, unofamba uchidonha matuzvi. Ndakamutsura, anonzi ane mufana uyu wokutaurisa manhingo wekuenda kuSouth Africa achiti wamunanga kwahuchu. Kamutsura mufana uyu. Ndikati ZANU-PF haisi political party yekusimudza chest uchiti kune vene. Ine vene ZANU-PF. Ezo zvikaona kuona mufana has taken asylum into her own brand. He's like an innocent person. Hakupenga achingoenda. Kwanzi Godfrey anitsena ngamo. Kamutsura kandi homeboy. Dzikama. And so the problem is the benefits I've stated, which were extended to Lilian Timovius in ZANU-PF, they were just short-lived benefits. May his soul rest in peace. They're short-lived benefits. She abandoned the heroes and martyrs who were fighting, opposing this regime to bring stability to Zimbabwe, and went to a political party that created instability in our country. And they say you want to achieve stability with the people who have failed for 45 years. It was an error to our senator, our former senator, crossing the border into ZANU-PF against all overwhelming odds. It was disastrous. It ended disastrously. Lilian has lived under a Damocles sword, threatening and precarious situation. Damocles sword, which means threatening and precarious situation of retribution hovering over her head. Pakagara pesa hapana. MuZANU-PF hava kutrust kana wabva opposition. Never. They will never trust you. Ndati nini vakafera kurecognize what 𝐷𝐴𝐺𝐲 did. They are still failing to recognize what Father Zimbabwe, Joshua Nkomo, did. To the extent that Davengo akaramba unorara paHeroes Acre. Akati vanhu they don't respect Joshua Nkomo. Woenda iwewe muZANU-PF, obviously you will spend the rest of your life in what we call Damocles sword. That's where our former senator died. The defectors' future, ladies and gentlemen, has never been easy in ZANU-PF. Ask them, those who joined ZANU-PF from the opposition. Their future is never easy. They will never trust you no matter what. Mark my words. So I think if 𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻 She is feeling it now. Kuti pazvaitaurwa nana Yudha vachinditsura kuti vatete kwamuri kuenda uko. Don't cross this border into ZANU-PF. Remain as opposite. Gara hako kumba kwako kana unaona kuti zviri kunetsa wozosimuka paunenge wafungidzira kuti this is time I need to go into politics. Gara kumba. But she has never been safe from fear of associating with the ZANU-PF, associating with Varakash. Why you mona kana Lilian aita slogan kuti pane zvakatsitsirira. Saka you can tell she was a troubled soul in ZANU-PF. And I pa Facebook page pake munoona. Zvandiri kutaura panapa, go pana Lilian Timovia's Facebook page. Unoona. Aingonyora kuti vene president wevanhu, vene president. She was just following where Mnangagwa goes. Achikota ndiye president wevanhu, ndiye president wevanhu, ndiye. She knew inside her mind that Mnangagwa has never won election, presidential elections. He is not the president wevanhu. She knew it. Ukaona the way she was writing. Saka you will never be safe from fear by associating with the ZANU-PF. And these people will never trust you. You will never enjoy working life in ZANU-PF. You might try to force it. You might try, uchifunga kuti zvichashanda, but as zvakashanda muZANU-PF. It's not easy. Not easy at all. So, her death now showed that she was not adequately protected in ZANU. Kana vachitadza kuprotecta ma-minister, vachitadza kuprotesta ma-president avo from eating poison, ozouya voti iwewe zvako Lilian wauya nhasi. So this is the fate she has faced. Her death now must stand as a discouragement of those who want to follow her footsteps. This is a very good example that you go to ZANU-PF, uchibva ku-opposition, wosvika ufunga kuti ndionese, you become a shell of yourself. Look at Thokozani Kobe. Look at Shabang today. Look at Lilian Timovias. Ukatotarisa chekukwekwe chachi, unonyatsoona kuti zvakadzvanya. Imi Dr. Thomas Mapfumo Mkanya vakafonerwa, takanzwa ma-phone calls, uya kuZANU mudhara tokupa $700,000. Vakataura kuti torai mari iyoyo munotenga mishonga kuzvipatara, endai munotenga mishini, ma-x-ray machine kuchipatara, pane kupa Dr. Thomas Mapfumo. Mashaya here vanhu vekupa vasina chekudya muZimbabwe. Unoziva ndipo unoona kuti iyi mhondoro iyi. Imhondoro iyaya. Pamusamanza ndakataura last time ndikati dai ZANU-PF ine pfungwa yaiterera Mukanya. Kuenda kwakaita vana Chaminuka, vanani makore avo. Hazvinoti zvakaperera ipapo. Kune dzimwe mhondoro dzinosimuka. Andimwa Dr. Thomas Tafirenyika Mapfumo Mukanya. Kana ukateerera music yavo maimbiro avakaita kubva muhondo, svika hondo ipere, svika nanhasi. Unotonzwa kuti iyi mhondoro yandakateerera. Asi kana usingazive seZANU unotuka. Sachivhayo unotuka. Kuti anotuka mhondoro kuti anzouya ipuwe 700,000. What is 700,000? At the haste of the suffering of the people of Zimbabwe. This is why uchiona chindikagara I listen to Thomas Mapfumo's music in Zimbabwe. ukaranda kuzoteerera hangu music mimwe inoenda kuteerera veDzinza chete. Zvimwe zvese zvindakakanda uko teerere. Kana taura veDzinza, 𝐼𝐴𝐶𝐲 naNicholas Zakaria ava ndeveDzinza. Tiri ropa rimwe chete, tobva pamusha pamwe chete. Saka ndada kutoteerera kazhinji kacho ndinoteerera tsamba. Kazva ndichitiridza music vandoteerera tsamba yaMudhara Zaka. Andogona. Nekuti iro iDzinza, hapana zvandakagona kuzviita. Nekuti ava ndeveDzinza. Ndikatosimuka bva pana kuenda kumusha kuMalawi, ndotosvika ndotambirwa paZakaria, ndoba ndototambirwa nzi mwana auya. Handiti mona. Saka tiri kutaura tichiti ukaona uchiteerera music uri eZimbabwe, music yako yekutanga kuteerera, teerera Thomas Tafuranyika Mapfumo. This is when if you want to understand politics dzeZimbabwe, kwakabva nyika patiri nenyika nekwatiri kuenda, unoteerera mhondoro dzine chiprofita chakanyanya. Music yaMudhara yaMukanya ine chiprofita chakanyanya cheZimbabwe. Ukaiteerera munoteerera kaike kuti bereka mwana tiende jani iwe, ene muteerera song iyoyo. Kana muteerera nyika yaita mamvemve, nyika yaita mamvemve, nyika yamaichemera, ona yaita mamvemve, jani iwe. Teererai song ikani, unonyatsokuona kuti chiprofita chakazara. Moteerera gwindingu rine shumba inoruma, gwindingu rine shumba inoruma. Teererai gwindingu. Kana newe unobva wakanda penzura pasi nemisodzi inobuda. Pataive nenyika, patiri nenyika, nekwatiri kuenda nenyika. Ndosaka ndiri kutaura kuti kana uri munhu ane vision from the opposition, you cannot join ZANU-PF. Worse, uri official yeparty, you cannot join ZANU-PF. Andimona. Saka the Lillian Timovius' death is a good example to those who want to follow footsteps. Don't join ZANU-PF. Your conscience will discourage you. Uchingoenda chete wafa. Saka to ZANU-PF unenge utori security risk to them. Vanenge vachitoka kutarisa undoona security risk iwewe. They regard you as a risk. Andimona. And they don't even that information inopuwa zana na ubeti gutu. It's like a dishonest information because what they want is just to kill you. Whatever information you give them, they take it with a pinch of salt. When still kuna Lillian Timovius, ZANU-PF haide varungu, yanga sikade varungu. Apana ndakanzwa kuti anzi anga akaroorwa nemurungu. Although zvakanga zvasiyana, hanzi akanga varambana here. Murungu anga ati no, zvako zvokuenda kuZANU bodo. Hanzi murungu ndokutiza. So there are drawbacks in life that come from these silly decisions. You make silly decisions. There are a lot of drawbacks in life. Lillian, I understand when she went there to join ZANU-PF, she was passionate of providing information about Chamisa's activities in Zimbabwe. But unfortunately, she had no first-hand information about Nero's activities, which is ZANU-PF really or desperately wanted. So, ukaona ma security services ano assist ZANU-PF, they felt dangers in accepting fabricated information kubva kuna Lillian Timovius about MDC and CCC. But these defectors havana first hand, havanga vasina chavanoziva. They had no information. There were no secrets in there. Saka unoziva kuti in terms of security, or in terms of information publishing, every information that you need to give, which is of substance, has to be checked. And sometimes all the information has to be by form of documents. So we're going on a Lillian because vaida ma favors. Vaida ma favors from ZANU-PF. So there were a lot of temptations to fabricate, a lot of temptations to overstate information and her own importance to ZANU-PF. And I'm gonna. And I'm telling you, I'm warning Zimbabweans. She is not the first and the last defector to go in this way. Mark my words. She is not the first and last dictator to go this way. Because to me, ZANU-PF kana ichikuona zvavada shepherd dude. Don't join a ZANU-PF nas. What is a false defector? Apana join a ZANU nas in one. This is false defection. That guy will never be ZANU-PF. Robbie, Zirudi, and Demon. Even their security forces will tell them. And they'll feel it. Kudumunu is a false defector. Because he will never be an agent of this state. Otherwise, Lillian Timovias, to me, she was something like a planted agent in ZANU-PF. And vakazvibata vanongokuuraya kusapoison. And one wakaita sana Lillian Timovias ivava nana Wallace Bruru wedu wekuenda mai manje kuzanu. Vaiva vanongo ma short term activities avanongoita muzanu vobva vafa. Because information yavanayo chaiyo it's short term information. Yetime yavayo mu 000 MDC. So their defection does not help ZANU-PF. It doesn't help ZANU-PF. Saka it's just for short term being there. Anumona Shabang, they used him and gave him poison. It's for short term. They just use you. Enough poison. That's why Linda Masara Mchawan's word. That was short term stint with ZANU-PF. Zakadopera. Saka to ZANU-PF, no doctor right. This, if you think that these people are genuine defectors, you are wasting your time. These people just need your resources. Don't ever think that they will bring any information of substance to ZANU-PF. No. And most of them are going to false defectors. Adewa. Sakatikuta child varova pasi mbuya Lillian Timovias vaenda tikati mbuya tenge chako vachembedza mupana ati Lillian aenda. Imagine people defecting from ZANU-PF kuti zvingaitika here izvozvo. Vana mavhaire vakamboda kutanga vadefecta vakadzokera. Ndakaona mwana wamavhaire achitaura kuti hey babongi nini ndove ZANU mpana uya mwana wamavhaire mpana uya that one is musiyaiwo kampana uya andogona ndokwanisa kubudisa evidence mpana uya wamavhaire mwana wamavhaire uya yokuti hey nini babongi ndo chichi hey ni I'll remain in CCC. President Chamisa is my president. We are no good evidence in front of her. I'm telling you. I got one friend, they are going to say, Shapiro, who's in the they got the edge, as I don't pay my perero. It was the Camel, Zokera Monaco, Saram, Sia, and the Victus, and the Vicun Gunaja Misa. Sakatru Totos is what he says. And it won. Because they just want to make a living. As said, the youngsters are now reluctant to do politics for nation building. In Zahara, kuna mabasa. Anzi Mkoma, your thoughts about Chimombe. Moses Mpofu trial and how the High Court ended today. Tafadzo. Zviri sei tavu. Ayoka. Kana paipa totaura kuti the courts are captured. Vanhu vanenge vachiramba ka. But unoziva kuti court haifanirwi kuramba. Inini I'm saying kuti ningi ngauye ape evidence. Court yoramba kuti ningi auye ape evidence. Haisiri court ka. Yakangaru zvazvasabhuku zvezvi. Kana asina chaanoziva anouya umira mudhoko otaura kuti handina chandoziva. Ukanzi nyoresai mawitness, unonyoresa witness yako. Witness yandoda yazopa evidence ndiningi naningi. Kana asina chaanoziva anouya umira kamukoti otaura kuti handina chandoziva. Kwete kuti yorula kuti hana chaanoziva. Aiwa ngauye arumborambirei. Arutya mibvunzo. Andero. Saka mbuya tavarwa pasi. When people are jostling to escape from ZANU-PF clutches, some are going into ZANU-PF. And we know that all the hardships we have were created by ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF made Zimbabwe a devil's cave. Trump it's a shithole country. But in I don't say it's a shithole country. I'm Zimbabwean. I say it's a devil's cave. Zimbabwe is a devil's cave created by ZANU-PF. All sorts of hardships are found in that country. All sorts of hardships. People are trying to escape from it. Sakatubutaraji saidly. Lillian portrayed false stories, and those stories have ended tragically. This is what you see. Lillian Timothy's to ZANU-PF, she was a fraud. She was a scam to ZANU-PF. Everything she said was false or propaganda. Ndosaka murikuona akanzi ndiye alide cyber team because she was championing propaganda for ZANU-PF. Everything she said is false. Taimutaurira Lillian kuti kwawaenda ukwanzvadzi enda unosvika unopfeka kana pende rata because varume vacho variko havaseke newo. Madhara ekuZANU-PF haaseke newo. Vafana varakasha vari kufara nzara havasi kuzofara nokuti wapuhwa mapositions muZANU-PF. Saka tiri kutaura pano tichiti hamba kahle, famba zvakanaka. Mwari vakuchengete. Kwauri kumhepo ndo wakuona. I know by now your spirit is regretting. Kuti ndazoenda ndasiya ndatengesa. Tengesa struggle. Vanachamisa vanzi vanhu vakaipa. Saka guys, as I've promised, I'm not going to take much of your time. I was making a presentation here. Maganyav, my defectors, we call them Maganyav. Those people who defected, and Shabangwari, and Zagapu poison food. Ziganyav runs Shabang, and Zagapu poison. So I was talking about Maganyav defectors, and I've said that these Ganyavs are people who desert to the enemy. I call ZANU-PF an enemy, not an opponent, because once they look, their perception on us, we are enemies to them. So Maganyav, they defect from opposition to join the enemy camp. They switch allegiance. They stop believing what they were believing, and they become a vital source of information to ZANU-PF. They abandon what they believed before. Because I've stated that Lillian Timovias and others who used to believe in crushing ZANU-PF, We used to believe in smashing ZANU-PF. We used to believe in overthrowing a tyrannical regime and install a democratically elected government that will oversee the stability of the country. But unfortunately, tine maganyavu opposition who think if I don't get what I want, I'll go join ZANU-PF. We don't care. Join ZANU-PF. Tamba ishigure zvenyu, but the consequences are this end. Poison. Because vari kudawo ma positions iwaya. Why they give you poison? Because vanenge vachidawo ma position auri kupiwa iwaya. Ma positions are rewarded within ZANU-PF. No ma positions avanoda. These guys have been there for 45 years supporting ZANU-PF. They were never appointed to lead an organization like Petrol Trade. They've never appointed to lead an organization like CAECs. They've never led the CIBA team. We know the CIBA team is paid on daily basis by ZANU-PF. And these people in ZANU-PF are struggling, are suffering. They've been there suffering. You just come from opposition, vakakutarisa uchidrive ma-GD6 GD6 hazviitike kuzana, saka unofa. Wesandebvu mudenga yawe, saka ndati inini she has died. She has died. She amplified confirmation bias, which existed in the mindset about life in the opposition. Perhaps for those who don't know what's like living in Zimbabwe, she just amplified untruth to the people, to the world. Maybe aizvitra vanhu vasagare muZimbabwe manyepero acho akaita. Hapana sina kuona 2023 elections maitirwa yakaita, how it was condemned by AU, EU, SADC, any other organization that came to look to monitor our elections. Sagandat Murara Sagandak. Ala dirigora vakumana. Dirigora rembanje vano garam dirigo vakumana. Vano garam dirigora. Una vano garam dirigo. Rgaindi. Dono zuro. Dirigora vakumana.